Okay, good evening, everyone, and a very warm welcome to the BIS. Thanks for coming this evening. And just to introduce our speaker, Enrico Flamini, who has come all the way from Rome today, so that deserves, I think, a round of applause, actually. I'm going to go through Enrico's biography, which is quite extensive, obviously a very eminent career here. He graduated in physics from La Sapienza University in Roma in 1977 with a thesis on X-ray spectroscopy applied to Apollo lunar samples. He became a researcher at CNR and then an ESA research fellow at the University of Sussex. In 1985, he was employed by the ASI, the Agenzia Spaziale Italiana. I hope I've pronounced that reasonably well. The Italian Space Agency, first as a product assurance manager and then as ASI's project manager on Rosetta, Mars Express, Mars Reconnaissance Orbiter and the Cassini-Huygens missions. He became a co-investigator on the Cassini radar and on the ASI,
Atmospheric structure instrument.
That's it, yeah. Programs. From 2006 to 2010, he was chair of the Philae Comet Lander Steering Committee. And from 2008 to 2010, he was director of ASI's Observation of the Universe Department. In 2012, he became mission science director for ASI's LARES Laser Relativity Satellite, which was launched on VEGA. And he was ASI's chief scientist from 2010 until his retirement. A little bit more to go. Enrico was emeritus principal investigator of the Symbiosis instrument on the Bepi Colombo, vice chair, chair of the Italian Delta of ESA's Science Programs Committee, delegate to ESA's Program Board for Earth Observation, and from 2006, professor of solar system exploration at Gabriele D'Annunzio University in Chieti, Italy. He's a member of the MEWG, MEPAG, MPSET, lots of organizations, and was appointed an officer of merit in France. Hopefully, and was awarded an exceptional public service gold medal by NASA. The International Astronomical Union named asteroid 18099 the Flamini asteroid. He has so far published more than 100 papers and 3 books. So, that's plenty from me. So I better hand over to Enrico. So thank you very much.
Actually, thank you. And okay, good. And I'm extremely honored to be here today. Thank you for inviting me to be here and to come back to UK that I was missing from a long while. So I'm very happy about that. Sure. So I've been asked to make a presentation on what has been the activity done by Italy in space. Of course, I try to focus on 30 years. That more or less is the period from when I joined the organization just before ASI, more or less when I do retire. Year more, year less. This is. And so almost 30 years, yeah. Of course, things started started well before. Anything in space, as in any other activity of humankind, is not born from scratch, and for sure not in Italy and not for space. So first activity, but you know pretty well, that brought us to think that it would be useful going out of the Earth atmosphere was the evidence that going up into atmosphere, even with balloons, the information that we had from the rest of the universe, for example, X-rays or gamma rays or solar radiation, was changing completely. So the higher we go, the more the more radiation we found. And so the beginning was balloons, the simple stuff. Then we have to wait up to the end of the Second World War and develop done after the B2 program by the National Research Lab in the United States, with two missions, one in 46, another one in 49. There are other missions in the meanwhile. I mean, other attempts to do missions, but I'm just listing here the ones that do provide serious information about space. Definitely, like the first observation that also the sun was emitting an intense ultraviolet radiation. We didn't know at the time. I mean, the radiation, only a part of radiation is reaching the surface of the Earth. The first observation of X-rays. And so the first observation that the sun was emitting X-rays. Another thing that was almost impossible, and actually really never measured before. Then we have to skip the end of the 50s with the Sputnik as the first human-made object capable to work in space and to transmit signal on the Earth. It was a technological demonstration and a political demonstrator, but still was the real beginning of science done through electronic instruments in space. No one even was dreaming about the fact that electronics could survive the space environment before. And soon after, the Explorer mission, Explorer 1 and Explorer 2, and the second one of the Explorer in 58, so 1 year after the Sputnik, showed us the fact that the Earth was surrounded by a radiation belt. So radiation, high-energy radiation trapped into the magnetic field of the Earth, so the Van Allen belt. In the 3 years after that, so from 57, first time that something was working in space, up to the next 3 years, actually, it was the first lunar mission done by the Soviet Union in 59 with a lunar flyby. And then another mission always from Soviet Union that for the first time provided us images of the other side of the moon. So this is something that with the time that we are doing these days is pretty strange. Just to give you an idea of what we are speaking about, you see the Sputnik on the top left, so a sphere about 40 centimeters in diameter, and the Explorer 2 on the top, on the bottom right, a much smaller object actually, but the difference is the one was just a demonstrator, the other one was a scientific instrumentation in space. And you see either von Braun, either Van Allen raising their hands, and in the middle there is the director of JPL of the time. I don't remember the name. I don't know if you remember, David, but it was well upon our time. So more or less in the same year, well, a few years after, actually, 64, Italy launched the first satellites, designed in Italy and launched by an Italian team. Of course, the launcher was an American one, was a Scout launcher, but the team that launched it was Italian, trained by the American colleagues, and the Broglio satellites, scientific satellite again, was entirely designed and built up in Italy. And this is why I'm saying that Italy is the third country, not because actually it's a third flag into space. There is France and Canada that did it, but both of them did not design and launch the satellites. They asked to put the flag over. And you see here Luigi Broglio on the right and Werner von Braun on the left in the Malindi station, Kenya, out of the Kenya shore, on a platform that was full Italian territory, because at the time the mile was only 3 miles, so the limit of the territory of Kenya, and so the platform were outside, so we're fully Italian. It's not anymore so now that because Kenya extended up to 12 miles their influence in their region.